going? So today on BKRsport, it is time to talk about the Cronulla goddamn Sharks. The Cronulla Sharks, absolutely, 100%. I can't believe that this team is happening right now. I don't understand. I don't understand the Cronulla Sharks. This is going to be an interesting video because we're going to go over the fact that obviously they do struggle to beat the top 8 teams, but there is also another fact that people haven't spoken about. Something that people, I think, seem to kind of skim over at the moment, or they just don't know it, but we'll get into that in the video. There's a couple of things that we need to speak about with the Sharkies that are really confusing right now. So what are we damn well talking about? Well, it's a good question. But before we do get into our conversation for today, obviously hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here. We've been posting every single day of 2024 so far, and we are rocketing, baby. We are rocketing on the way to the 2024 season, which is going to get absolutely spicy. But the Cronulla Sharkies, weird team, right? Because we all know they've got a solid, talented roster. They do. They have a really quality roster. Let's go quickly have a look-ski here, right? Let's go quickly have a look-ski at the predicted lineup here for 2024, which is pretty much what we've obviously seen in recent years, right? So, Will Kennedy is the fullback with Sione Katoa and Ronaldo Montalvo on the wings. I like that three pairing there. Will Kennedy, not that extravagant kind of fullback, but can score you 3 tries randomly, but then also kind of do not much the next game, but overall is a very solid fullback that doesn't really get the raps that he deserves. Maybe he's starting to get him a little bit more now. Their centers, they've got Jesse Ramien and Kyle Iro here. They're thinking that CSF Talakai is going to go to the bench this year. Look, I like the center. I love Jesse Ramien. I think he's good. I'm not too sure about Kyle Iro, whether he's going to fit in there. But with that being said, still a solid center pairing there, even if they do put Talakai in, who we all know from that one game against Morgan Harper, everyone was like, oh, wow, he's the best center that ever existed. And then he got a New South Wales caller from that. He's the best center that ever existed. And then turned out that he wasn't the best center that ever existed. It's just that you looked at him play up against Morgan Harper. You thought he's the best player that ever played to damn well play. He just didn't not play. He's not the best player that ever damn well played, but solid play nonetheless. Even if he gets in the centers, it's still fine, right? You go into the halves, they're predicting here Nicho Hynes 6, Braden Trindle 7. I personally agree with that. I personally like that. But what they've been going with is Nicho Hynes the 7, won a Dally M halfback of the year there, and Braden Trindle the 6. Again, I prefer Trindle on the 7, which is kind of why I like this predicted lineup here. But with that being said, I don't know if the Sharks will actually do that. Braden Hamlin-Uele and Toby Rudolph, front row. It's a bit how you going. Number 9, Blake Brayley. Love that. Britt Nakora, Teague Wilton, back row. Like that. Teague Wilton, not convinced yet. Britt Nakora. Love Britt Nakora. And then Dalfanukin 13. Solid. Nothing spectacular, but solid. Overall, this is a team that should be doing a lot better. It's just as simple as that. Overall, this team should be doing a lot better. And we all know about the Sharks and their struggles to actually go and beat a top 8 team. Right? It's just as simple as that. We've been talking about it for a very long time now. Sharks fans are like, oh, yeah, whatever, we know, man, stop talking about it. And then other people are like, oh, yeah, look, take the piss out of them. Well, no, I'm not here to take the piss out of you Sharkies fans, but I do have to tell you that it is very, very concerning because it's still going on. What has been done to fix this? It's been 2 years. This has been years now. But before we get into that, and before we start going through kind of the confusion there and what needs to be rectified and what needs to be done, and on my personal opinion, I'm going to tell you, Sharks fans, I've got a bad stat here for you. You have not won a home finals game since 2008. You have not won a finals game at Shark Park, PointsBet Stadium, since 2008. Let that sink in for a second then. Let that sink in. Because you made the finals last year, you played the Roosters at home, PointsBet Stadium, you lost 13-12. Right? And then you go back to the beforehand in 2022 and you played the Cowboys at home, PointsBet Stadium, first week. You lost 32-30 and then you lost the following week 38-12 to the Rabbitohs. Right? And then I've gone all the way back here and the last time you won when you were the home team was in 2018, which was against the Panthers, but that was at Allianz Stadium. That wasn't at PointsBet. And then there was a couple as well on the way back where I saw 2016 when you won the grand final. You also didn't win at home. It was at Allianz Stadium when you were classed as the home team there. And then you keep going back. Legitimately, all the way back in 2008 against the Raiders, you won 36-10 in the first week of the finals. So that's kind of a scary stat because a lot of Sharks fans are always like, oh, we want to play more finals at Sharky Park. This is our home ground. Even though we've only got about 5,000 people that can fit in the stadium, We want it to be at our home ground. And granted, I agree with that. I like that. As a Cbus Super Stadium, buddy, local Gold Coast Titans, I want us to have the preliminary final there too. I think it's unfair that we have to go to Suncorp. But with that being said, we do have to. And we have a problem that is similar to the Sharkies in a way, that we haven't played or won a home finals game since 2010. But so the difference here is, that's our only finals game we've won. Anyway, let's stop kind of putting my team in there because it makes them look bad too. But point of the matter is, Sharkies fans, there's a concern right now that you don't have a stadium that your players treat as a fortress. You need to make your home ground a goddamn fortress. You know, like that, losing that game to the Roosters last year was absolutely absurd. Like, that made absolutely no sense in any planet ever. 13-12 to the Roosters, you know, you led, you had the chance to, like, take it away, basically. I don't even know if you led. Yeah, you did lead. You led, and the Roosters got, like, had players injured everywhere. There was a player binned, and you found a way to lose it at home. At home, which is not something you should be doing. And then you go back to the previous year, and you're up with like 5 minutes to go. The Cowboys scored, and they got to extra time, and then Val Holmes, your ex-player, kicked a field goal from 40 out. Now, I'm not here just to shit on you, Sharks fans, but I am here to say to you, your home ground right now is not something that teams fear to go to, which is what you need to change. There needs to be something that changes here in the mentality of your players, because I've not seen anyone speak about the fact that you have not won a home finals game at Shark Park since 2008. And if you can't win at your own home stadium, you can't hold out in front of your own fans, make your own fans proud from your own local area, then how are you going to do that when you go to a core? How are you going to do that if you have to go up to Suncorp? How are you going to do that if you have to go to Melbourne? Like, how are you going to beat another team in a big-time match if you can't even, since 2008, win at home? Now, let's move on from that. Let's move on from that now, and let's get into the fact that the Sharks can't seem to beat a top 8 team. You know, this is a really strange team, man, because they've got a team that should be able to do much better than what they're doing. They should be doing much better than what they're doing. Round 1 last year, lost the Rabbitohs. Top 8 team. Should have been a top 8 team. Let's put it that way. And were a top 8 team at the time. You know, they were in first place until round 11, so we're going to include that one. Beat the Eels, who ended up being in the top 8, but also lost the first 5. No, they didn't end up being in the top 8, sorry. No, they didn't, so let's forget that. I'm up. So they lost, so they beat the Eels, they did a 26. Who cares? Not a top 8 team. Lost the Raiders, ended up being a top 8 team. Beat the Dragons. Anytime Dick or Harry could beat the Dragons. Lost the Warriors, top 8 team. Beat the Roosters in round 7, which at the time the Roosters were looking awful, but with that being said, technically a top 8 team. So through the first 7 rounds, they'd won 1 game against top 8. Bulldogs beat them, whatever. Cowboys beat them, whatever. Lost the Dolphins, wow. Beat Manly, whatever. Beat the Knights. So, you know, what I've noticed here is that when the Sharks beat these teams that end up being in the top 8, it's kind of at a point in the season where those teams are playing awfully, because the Knights, at this point of the year, were down the bottom of the table as well, similar to, you know, these other teams like the Eels and whatnot, who kind of find it later on in the year. So they're beating them well when they're in their struggle streak, but you'll get to the end of the season where the Sharks will play the Knights again, and they'll get whooped. Now, before Sharks fans come out and say you can only play who's in front of you, which is correct, you can only play who's in front of you, the fact of the matter also is that there is also context that can be added into that. Just because you can only play who's in front of you doesn't mean you can't add the context in alongside that. Played the Broncos, lost. Played the Storm, lost. 2 top 8 teams. Oh wait, beat the Bulldogs. Confidence again, 48-10. Beat the Bulldogs, bottom 14. Beat the Dragons, bottom 14, 52-16. Wow. Oh, look at this. Beat the Bulldogs, 48-10. Beat the Dragons, 52-16. Beat the Tigers, 36-12. Wow, we're back, baby. We are back. 3 wins in a row. Go to New Zealand, lose 44-12. And then you play at home against Manly nothing, and they win 30, Manly win 30-26. And then you play the Panthers, and you lose 28-0. You lose 28-0. Like, it's absurd. It's absurd. And you go on, and long story short, ridiculous. The only team that beat was the Raiders, 24-6, and the Raiders, honestly, lucky to be a top 8 team this last year. I was more confident, actually, in the team that was last year than what they're looking like, I guess, this year. We need to see Nico Hines, I guess, be the guy, you know. But even when he was the Dally M halfback of the year, and they looked very good, they still found a way, and they came second, mind you, they still found a way to lose the Cowboys and then go and lose to a bottom 4 of the top 8 team the next week. So even when Nico is clicking, the Sharks don't get over the line. Is the problem here that Nico can't play finals? Because it's a valid question. I'm not saying Nico's not a great player. I think he is a great player. I personally believe he's a 6, like I've said to you guys many times. But is the problem that Nico's not a big game player? I'm having concerns. I'm starting to kind of question it. Nico, we need him to do much better this year. And that's crazy to say, considering he was a Dally M halfback of the year just a couple of years ago, and is still the best player in the Sharks team. But I don't think that Nico should be the best player in the Sharks team. I don't think that I want to rely on Nico Hines to win me the comp. I want Nico to be able to be Nico with somebody else directing it around. That's why I like Braden Trindle in the 7, right? Because I think Braden Trindle's a pure 7, not a 6. I think Nico Hines is more of a 6 than a 7. So this could work out. It could. But the forward pack this year is not exactly unbelievable. I know they're getting Adam Finnell-Blake, but that's not until 2025. And with that being said, he is still getting older as well, right? So the Sharks are in a massive win now mode, and I just don't know if they can win now. Like, I don't know. This is feeling like one of the more weird teams to the comp, where I feel like this team could come... I think this team could come top 2. I think they could win the premiership. But I also could see them falling to as far as 13th. You know, maybe not 13th, 12th. I've got a massive range here for this team because you just don't know what you're going to get. And the competition's gotten better this year, man. The competition has gotten better this year. Let me just quickly go have a look at the ladder here so I can remind myself of some teams. The Panthers are going to be good. Broncos will be fine. Storm will be fine. Maybe we'll get into them in another video. Warriors, interesting, but they're still up there. Knights, interesting. Roosters should be better. Raiders, get them out of here. Rabbitohs should be better. Eels should be better. Manly could be better with Luke Brooks coming in. Might help him out in that 5'8 department. Dolphins, don't know about them. Titans will be better. Bulldogs should be better. Dragons, get them out of here. And Tigers, maybe not this year, maybe next year. So the point of the matter is teams are coming up and they only just snuck in to the top 8. They only just snuck in, man. And this Sharks team, right now, you look at it, and they're not filling you with a massive amount of confidence. But yet their team really should be competing for a premiership. And I believe they've got the technically easiest draw of the entire competition this year. I believe that's what we've been told. You know, so is that a good thing? Probably not. I don't think so. I think you wanted the harder one. You need to prove yourself, man. You start with the Warriors. You beat them in Auckland. I don't have as high hopes as other people do the Warriors this year, but you know, you beat them in Auckland, you probably get some good height about your kind of ego, but then you play the Bulldogs, the Tigers, and the Raiders, and you will win all 3 of those games. And then you'll be like, oh, maybe we're 4-0, maybe we're going to win a cup this year. And then you'll play the Rabbitohs, and then you'll get slapped. And then you get slapped. And you're like, what just happened? And you play the Cowboys, who are probably going to be a bit better this year. You get slapped. You play the Raiders. Oh, we're going to win. Woo, woo, woo. Dragons. Woo, 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 woo. Go down to Melbourne, slapped. This is the Sharkies, man. It's frustrating, man. It's just funny because you play these rando teams that you know you're going to beat. You get that confidence about yourself again. And then you go and lose like 28-0 to the Panthers. And you're just like, well, what happened? What happened? Anyway, let's finish this video up here. Point of the matter is, it's a very concerning time to be Sharks. I think there's a massive range going into 2024 where you can finish really high up or really down low. Not like wooden spoon low, but like 12th would be extremely low for what the Sharks should be producing. Obviously, Craig Fitzgibbon, we're still in a bit of a kind of, is he good enough yet? Obviously, came in, got him high, and then fell off last year quite a lot. It could happen again. You know, and if it does happen again, I think we do have to start looking at potentially, is it him? Does he know how to get the best out of this playing group? But then again, they've signed Adam Finnell-Blake, but will he be at his primo best when he comes back, considering he's getting on age? I don't know. There's so many questions here, man. Is their bench good enough? McInnes, Royce Hunt, Hazelton, and Talakai? I don't know. Is their forwards good enough? Hamlin Ueli, Toby Rudolph, Britt Nakora, Teague Wilton, Finucane, and Blake Brayley. It's got players there, but are they going to take that next step, man? the halves, Nico Hines, Braden Trindle. Is it good enough to win the comp? We shouldn't have to be asking this about these guys because they should have already proved it to us when they got the opportunity last year. The back line, Jesse Ramey and Kyle Ero. Kyle Ero kind of makes a little bit of a concern. But with that being said, just a young guy coming through who's killed it at New South Wales Cup level. You know, they've got the attack in him. Sione Katoa, Ronaldo Mulitalo, but they can also be liable in defence. And then Will Candy, solid, but is he, you know, a star? I don't know. This is a really big question year for me in regards to the Sharks across every single position. If I'm the coach of the Sharks, I look at this year and I say, if you don't prove it to me this year, we are moving on from you. I think this is a big year for the Sharks. I don't think anyone's talking about it, but I think this is a big year for the Sharks. You need to show me this year, if I'm the coach, you need to show me this year that you're a part of our team going forward. Right? I'm not just here because your name's Nico Hines and Mulitalo, who drops the ball every 2 seconds, Sione Katoa, you know, who've made your name big time, right? Prove it to me. Because otherwise, we're going to have to move on and we're going to have to go in a different direction because we can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results if we're going to go and lose in the finals for the 16th straight year, lose the home final, right? Since 2008. Something needs to be done. Something needs to change. Fitzgibbon needs to get into him, say, this is your chance. This is it. Otherwise, another club's probably best suited for you. But that's my personal opinion, guys. Obviously, comment below your thoughts about the Cronulla Sharks. If you think I'm a stupid man, please let me know. I believe that I'm just kind of voicing valid concerns. But with that being said, everyone's got different opinions. So like I said, comment below. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe if you're new around here. We're posting daily. We've got some more drafts coming your way. The Sharkies draft as well, which has the Guru, my arch nemesis when it comes to the draft. So they'll be coming very, very soon, plus Manly, Eels, and the like. So I appreciate you as always. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.